and welcome back to Two Coughs in a Coffin. I'm Amari.
And I'm Jude.
And we are coming back to you with another installment of our little Interview with a Vampire recap, where we are watching all of the episodes from season 1 and season 2 ahead of the new season so that we are refreshed, and then hopefully so are you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
It's been a while. So
it's been a while.
Let's get into it. Last time we watched episodes 4 and 5.
Yes,
I don't know why my brain keeps wanting to say something else.
Yeah.
But 4 and 5, 5 with the
one of the heavier episodes in the series for sure.
Definitely ones that I find it hard to watch multiple times.
Yeah, that one's a hard one
for you. And then we watched episodes 6 and 7 for this video.
The amount of times I've been trying to avoid saying it like that just because it's been ruined by the youth, I suppose.
What?
Like, the number 6 and 7.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Did you think
I thought that's what the pause was? Yeah, because you said it and then you looked to the side. Like
the pause is because we also do like little podcasts, and I keep wanting to say episode, even though it's not an episode. So I'm just like, it's just a video. It's just a regular video.
It's just a regular video.
But yeah, so we are going to get into that. I guess if you like, you can go and watch the other ones first. Or maybe you just want to see us talk about episodes 6 and 7. I guess 6, 7 or whatever.
Ew.
I honestly died just doing that.
You
I'm too old for that.
Yeah. I am
feel
too.
like it's like the youth, or like honestly it's like a lot of like older people who are doing it, but they're doing it to be funny and just because they're like, I'm in with the youth. Anyways, sorry, not to get distracted, but yeah, let's get into it, shall we?
Let's get into it. Episode 6, Like Angels Put in Hell by God.
A beautiful title.
It's a beautiful title. It's also like very, there's something, it's appropriate to the vibe, but there's something very like very melodramatic about the title. But it fits. This is one of the, I mean, all of the episodes are gothic, but this episode feels especially gothic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's so suffocating.
Oh my God.
The dread. It's It's
a lot.
There's a lot in there. We'll probably we'll get into that a little bit.
We'll get into it. And it starts immediately with the aftermath of episode 5. I remember when I first watched it, like I was reeling and I was like, how are they gonna do it? And they just like, the episode starting with basically reaffirming what happened. And these like, and how horrific it was, and like these hyper close-ups of like Louis' body, and it like abstracts it, and like I remember thinking about like his body's like a battleground. It's a site of violence. Like it is like it looks like something after like and it was something like after a battle. Like you see like these gouges and all of this, and it's horrific.
Those bite marks we talked about.
I can't tell if it was bite marks or if that's where like Lestat grabbed him when he had him in the air.
Yeah,
like when he was holding him by the shirt. Because
was his? Did he like dig his nails into his?
I think
skin?
when he grabbed him, he probably scratched him. Yeah.
Either way, horrifying.
It's
no matter
bad.
what. I hate it. And then also when I was watching it, I'm just, now that I've seen season 2, I'm like, Louis keeps having these evil men.
Yeah.
Like afterwards he ends up in situations where has to be taken care of. This time he had Claudia. Last time, I mean, well, not last time, but in season 2. The next time, he has the evil nurse.
Yeah, I was thinking about it this, like, along those lines of like what Armand does in season 2 is kind of like a twisted parody of what Claudia is doing here.
It's going to hell.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, not to jump to season 2, but I couldn't help but
we'll get to it.
Draw those like
I know. I think that we should as we go along. Now that
we've seen both
seasons, we can draw those connections whenever we want.
There's a lot of mirroring happening in season 1 and season 2 for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And like
Oh, there is something else I want to bring up in regards to that, but let's go on.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, and then like we have Claudia taking care of Louis, and like I feel like you can feel her kind of cycling between this like more like nicer, softer domestic care, like we kind of see in like the scene where Louis throwing the cards in the hat, and then some more like clinical detachment, like when she has him chase the goat and he doesn't catch it, and she just goes, "We'll try again tomorrow," and like walks out of the room. Because I know we talked about it a little later, but I think there was a resentment on Claudia's end that Louis is prolonging his own like convalescence by sticking to his animal diet. He would heal a lot faster if he drank from people, but because of his you know, approach to eating, Claudia has to play nurse for a lot longer than she might have had to otherwise. Because she's not just taking care of Louis, she's also cleaning the house that they've let fall into disrepair for 7 years. So she's doing that while having to take care of him, and like, you know, it's not great.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Having
It's a
to
lot
one
on her.
process that, one having to like be the one to help Louis basically rebuild himself, because he can't really do that for himself right now. Well, it's just, there's a lot for her to deal with.
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
like there's like not to say resentment so many times, but like I feel like when you have to push aside your own emotional reaction or emotional processing, because she was also dealing with something else before she
that
even
had
dealt
just
with that.
happened
very recently, and so she was still dealing with that, and then, you know, the domestic violence, you know, scene happens, and she's now having to put aside her own emotional processing because she needs to take care of Louis. And when that happens, it's like it's such a horrible spot to be in, where you're like, I can't blame this person, or it's not fair to blame them, because like they literally can't they can't do anything about the situation that they're in. You know, like Louis can't do anything about the fact that he needs care, but it does, having to put aside your own like stuff to have to take care of this person.
It doesn't really give her space to process anything that has happened, other than to kind of probably sit and stew in
get
anger
angrier
for
and angrier, which is a valid reaction.
Very valid.
Yeah, and I find it when we get to like the Dubai parts, like despite like it's almost like despite the fact that we are seeing the aftermath, we can feel Louis kind of downplaying what happened, where he's saying like, are we the sum of our worst moments, and like, how can we be forgiven if we don't forgive others? And I'm just, and like,
Daniel's like, yeah, I don't think so, I don't know about that. And like, his approach is so shitty, and he's constantly so condescending. I mean, what he says, he's like, oh, you only be one time, officer. Like, on one hand, kind of valid, like that, like that's what you sound like, Louis, but also you can
phrase it a different way.
A different approach. There's a different approach there.
Especially because
it's
like
sensitive.
I feel like Daniel, I was always pointing out that like Louis he's traumatized, but instead of pointing it out as like, hey, you know, this is he's always pointing out and being like, and you're stupid. Like being
you're
like
stupid for being traumatized and not realizing and not trying to accept the fact that you were abused and blah, blah, blah. Stupid bitch. And I'm like, okay, back up a little bit. There's another approach. There's another way to do this. You're doing too much. And it comes from a place of him trying to assert his, you know, his whiteness, because right now he's in the space where he's like feeling a little vulnerable. You know, he's not the top dog.
No.
So he has to assert himself somehow. But maybe back the fuck up.
And then we're also talking about another like thing that like when Louis is describing, you know, recovering, they're giving Daniel his medical treatment. So it's another like,
it's
Louis,
like he's
I
don't know. To me, it feels like he's trying to once again force some empathy from
Mhm.
Daniel, because he knows that man is not gonna do it
No.
alone. But
No, absolutely
but yeah,
not. Left to his own devices, he will not.
trying to
And
be. He's like,
then,
"Hey, do you see the parallels?"
yeah,
And Daniel's like, "I can't see."
I do not see it. No, but
But
yeah, and
yeah,
then,
and
yeah,
then guess who comes crawling back from the dump?
yeah. Not yet,
Oh,
but
not the dump yet, but
not yet. But yeah, coming back and
metaphorically
like,
this time.
it's so it would be comical if it wasn't like so
I
messed
know,
up,
because the way he
because
does,
like
he's
the way
just
he
like,
like,
"Hey,"
yeah, we kept
he's
being like, hey, how you doing?
"Hey." And
Yeah,
Claudia's like, "No, we're not having this shit."
yeah, and yeah, it's
I do find it interesting that, or not interesting, or I don't know what the right word is, but Louis mustered up the strength to like push that coffin
yeah,
outside of the fucking window, and I think that's hilarious.
yeah, it's
He's
very
like, "Yeah,
funny.
fuck you."
Yeah, and like, Lestat keeps showing up, and he's doing these like textbook Darvo like apologies that still allow, like, or he's still like dodging guilt, because by saying like, I don't know what came over
I
me,
don't know who that
I was a different
was.
person.
That's someone
Yeah,
else.
it means that it's divorcing yourself from your actions,
Yeah,
even
not
though
taking
like,
a
yeah,
responsibility for
yes,
what you did,
what you did,
really.
yeah, and the effects of what you did.
Yeah.
And then, it's in that scene with the car. I remember me and my sister talking about this, that we thought it was so like, he brings Louis a car and he's like, I have a matching one, and I'm like, didn't get Claudia a car? We know Claudia
Yeah.
knows how to drive, you taught her.
He doesn't bother to try to like appease her at all.
No, I think he knows that she's a lost cause. He's not winning her over, but also like, he doesn't want
He's not
she's not,
interested.
yeah, she's not
And like,
a part
I'm
of
like,
it.
at least you would think that you would try to, for show, for Louis to like show that I'm also trying to like,
Well, he kind of, when he goes like, I'm nothing without you, and then he goes, I'm nothing without both of you.
yeah, but that was weak shit. Bring
it,
some
it was
gifts at least.
bad.
Like,
Yeah.
I will
Well,
say,
yeah.
okay, this is not related to specifically. This is not related to Lisa at all. But like right
Hmm.
before this scene, Claudia talking about like Emily Dickinson and all
Being
that,
a
and I'm just
vampire.
like, I know, I'm like, okay, we see you,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, I wish you got to see more of the better times, even though Louis was still in this like healing process, but
Yeah.
like them just like getting to like have some peace for a moment. But whatever,
Yeah.
we won't get that. We'll never get that.
No.
They're like,
They,
hello, this is like gothic horror.
yeah,
You're
they're
gonna
like,
suffer. And I'm like,
actually,
okay.
no. But
Hi.
yeah, so Lestat keeps coming back, and he keeps coming back, and he keeps being like, essentially trying to like love bomb his way back into the house, and
Can
they're
I
like,
say
no,
something out of pocket?
I
It's not
suppose.
that out of pocket, but it is kind of out of pocket because I'm like, this is a very heavy thing, but Lestat coming in that one shirt, showing off his
Yeah.
nipples. I'm like, okay, you and Armand, y'all got one thing that y'all can do.
And you
Y'all
know
like kind
what?
of show off the breastises and hope that
But you
Louis
want to know
forgives me.
what? It works.
It does, unfortunately. But
If Claudia wasn't there, he would have gotten Louis that day.
I know Louis was kind
The
of
way Louis
wavering
was
a little
looking
bit.
over, his resolve was weakening, and then Lestat does the thing. Well, like, I guess what I want to say also was that, like, with the whole thing about it being like something came over him, is that like, he's treating that one moment as like the one wrong thing he's
But that's
done.
not the only thing.
But yeah, it's like that was the culmination of years and years and years of behavior, and then that was like an explosion of it. But like, that wasn't the only problem. That was
Right.
like, a big explosive moment that came out of the way that these problems have like built up tension in the house.
Right.
But to be like, let's go back to the way it was before then, it was
The way it
still
was
not
before
good.
then, it was still fucked.
Yeah, it's like, oh, let's pretend it didn't happen. And it's just like, even if we did, there's all these other things that led to that happening. And he
Right.
doesn't, either he doesn't see it or he doesn't want to address it or whatever. But yeah, and then, you know, the song thing, he has one last, like, you know, shot and he
Yeah,
does
yeah.
this thing with the song. And I guess I wanted to ask, like, why do you think that led Louis to taking him back?
I don't know. I'm like, was it the audacity? Maybe it was just the absolute audacity of putting Antoinette on that track. It was just like Louis like,
I
I
think I
got
knew why
fucking
it made him have to see him, but I'm like, what was the thing there that made him have to like decide to take him back in that moment?
I don't know. You
Because
know,
like,
I I think he kind of says it though, right? Like there was something very it was both audacious but also like maybe it's like the personal touch of like writing a whole like song for Louis or what I don't know. I think there's like a combination of things that and after also being worn down a lot by
yeah,
him already that it just kind of it hit the right things. I don't know.
yeah, because that was something I was thinking about when I was like putting down my thoughts. I was like, I also think maybe it's because it got him alone with Lestat. Like
Mm,
every single time beforehand when Lestat's come to talk to Louis, Claudia's been there,
Claudia's
but he
been
knows
there.
if he can talk, he's like, if I can see him one on one, like I can change his mind. And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
the thing happens and Louis like immediately runs out without
yeah,
Claudia to go and deal with it. I think maybe that's
yeah,
the deciding the factors that like without his voice of reason,
yeah. Who's just
which is
Claudia?
Claudia, he takes him back and like, you know, we get what I called the world's craziest cross dissolve, where
I
you have Daniel say, but there
know.
were three of you, and it shows Antoinette, and then Antoinette fades out over Claudia. And it kind of is a continuation of what we were saying in the previous video we made, where Lestat sees Claudia as the other woman.
Competition. Yeah,
That's competition. She is the third in their relationship. She is a third person who is affected by the relationship, but like Lestat sees Claudia as Louis and Antoinette is his.
yeah.
Um,
That's why
and
he's ready to. Once we get to the
mhm.
end, he's ready to swap her out. Like he's
Yeah,
like, all right,
because you know, it's trading in his mind. I'm going to say something crazy, but it's in his mind trading Louis' mistress for his. You know, that's how Lestat
yuck.
sees it.
He's going to jail.
Oh yeah,
Uh, arrest him.
yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
We
But
got him.
but yeah, I mean, it does kind of tie into,
Yeah.
where this is a gothic story and it's something we wanted to talk about anyways.
Yeah. Like,
Because like I feel like I mean obviously there's been a lot of recent chatter because of what we saw in that trailer with Gabrielle and Lestat. I
yeah.
will say for one, this has been a long time coming. Like we've already had weird bound crossing of boundaries, abusive like things happen from the very beginning of this. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's been here.
Yeah.
And it's an element of gothic stories. Like you can't
Mm-hmm.
really escape it. I think
No.
the conversations kind of get a little out of hand because I feel like on one hand, if you're coming in, I feel like part of the problem is that a lot of this show has been advertised as like the gay vampire show, and
Yeah.
people just think it's like fun, good times, and I'm like, it's also a gothic story. So like
Yeah.
there are going to be things that are going to be super uncomfortable. They're going to be super disturbing. one, you are allowed to be uncomfortable by them.
Yes.
Probably
It like
actually
invites you to be
by them.
uncomfortable.
And if someone's saying that you shouldn't be, or if they think that that means because it's a gothic that like it's excusing the actions of certain characters, cough cough. Honestly, that applies to a lot of characters. You know, Lestat, Armand, Marius, Gabrielle, all these people. You like. You can't excuse actions because it's a gothic or something like
Yeah.
that. Like, it's just it serves the purpose of like informing you of like basically what you're going to get into, what these elements are you're going to find within the narrative. So yeah, like it's going to be there. It has been there. People are also talking about like, oh, now we're finally going to get into the gothic horror. I'm like, did you not watch episode 5 that I just watched? It's been here since the very beginning, baby. Like,
not even just episode 5, like literally every episode in this show has had the gothic horror in it. But like you said, I think there was the you know, the gay vampire show, like ification of Interview with the Vampire, and it's like if you just went off of like how people memed it on Twitter, you wouldn't know that this is a show that actually more heavily talks about like domestic violence and domestic abuse and cycles of abuse, racism,
etc.
Yeah, and like all of these intersections of power, and also like these are all like themes that are in the original novel and book series in general. So like once again, it's like it's not saying that you don't have to be like you have to be comfortable with it, but also like it's not a surprise. Like you can't be surprised that they're getting into this, that, and the other when it's like one, always been there, and two, honestly, when it comes to Louis and Claudia, way toned down. Like
Thank God, but
they toned it down, but it's still present. The element there is still present of like at least on Lestat's end of how he sees it. But like there is, they moved it to more of like an enmeshment
instead of like
where Louis puts a lot on Claudia to like fulfill a lot of spots in which he feels unfulfilled in his relationship with Lestat. Like
a lot of like the
emotional intimacy he puts on Claudia, and that leads to its own crossing of emotional boundaries where like the child is having to step up where the partner doesn't, and that's also an uncomfortable spot to be in. But there's also like just straight up and down incest in the series for multiple characters. But and they kind of like did their little like, especially in season 2 where we just have Armand. I could just say where we just have Armand, honestly, end of sentence. But like, anyway, all that to say,
it's about to, I mean, like, you know, it's just going to continue to be real rough.
It's just going to continue.
It's been rough. It's going to continue to be real rough.
But this cross dissolve, I thought, was like very overtly addressing that. Addressing how Lestat sees their relationship, addressing, you know, this like Claudia as like the third in this thing, and then like he even says like in the scene that leads into when he's like the child interfering in, you know, the relationship of the parents,
parents' affairs,
and
like,
so definitely for sure. And so like we do have like that rule scene where like it's just like the way that they feel. I know Claudia probably is waiting for it to crumble. She's not putting any stock into this rules thing. But like I guess for Louis to feel like by giving Lestat a list of rules, it's going to prevent this stuff from happening.
Not following not one rule.
No, because
he's followed a rule.
Because like he's arguing while they're trying to give him the rules. So he had like this like false humility.
Especially with Claudia, because he's like, here she goes.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to like in episode 4 when like she asked him to turn Charlie, and he was like, don't make demands of me.
You are telling me to do something. And I'm like,
and that's kind of continuing here where like she's like, here's how it's gonna be, and he's like, I don't take orders from you. And you know, the Louis asking about Paul, which to me is also crazy.
Yeah. No, but it is though, because I'm like, have you just been holding on to that?
Yeah.
You've just been holding on to that
for years and years and years. He's been holding on to, did this guy have anything to do with my brother's death? And, you know, the issue with this, with like, and when I say not this, but like anything Lestat says in this scene automatically feels disingenuous and insincere. So like him being like, no, I would never hurt your brother. It's like, but you hurt Louis and you hurt Claudia. Like you, why are you acting like me being violent? It's like you were just violent, you know?
Yeah.
So especially because also like he brainwashed, like he like got into Paul's head like at the dinner. So like,
yeah,
I don't know. I don't think Lestat had anything to do with Paul's death, but it's also beside the point.
But like,
it's like we can't. Everything he says sounds fake. Everything he says sounds like a lie in this moment, no matter what. And so it kind of feels like Louis has to choose to believe Lestat. I think like even like with his story about his turning, which is also real, like it feels like a fake story, like to make people feel bad for him. But it's like, it's true, but how can you believe anything he says?
But you've already been dishonest up to this point. So like, it's hard to fully believe, which is why Claudia's like, that could have been a sous chef and fucking.
Yeah. She's like, we don't know who Magnus is, and how you know, convenient that he killed himself after he turned you. Like, you know. Yeah. So it's like, even though it's true, it doesn't matter because it feels like a lie.
But it works for Louis.
It works for Louis.
Louis loves a little vulnerability from his men, especially his powerful men who be like putting on such a front, and they're like, but then something happened to me, and I'm like, yeah, it did happen to you.
They're like,
and Louis
I have a tragic.
That erases every single thing you've ever done. I'm like, well, I don't know about that. He's like, yes, it does. I'm like, Louis, baby.
Yeah, you've got to get it together.
They know that he's, you know, he has his nurturing side, so they're like,
yeah, they're like, let me tap into that, you know, thing real quick. But yeah. So, you know, he's back in the house.
And,
you know, not to quote when Daniel's just like, you took him back.
The way he says it, I'm like, please get off of her.
Like, oh my God. Like, to slight aside, but I was trying to, if you watch this, I've already said this to you directly. I'm trying to convince my coworker to break up with her boyfriend because I think he sucks, and I've never felt more like Daniel. I'm just like, he sucks. But yeah, so then like we get this scene on the bench where like, because it kind of goes into like that thing about like leveraging things that are true to get what you want. And like when Lestat brings up also the way that he talks to the whole thing where he's like, can I ask a question?
I know. I'm like,
and they're like, you need to ask it. He's like, but I do, because that's the whole vibe now, is I have to ask to do anything. I can't do anything. I'm
like, and then he's glad you're in the house.
Yeah, you should be lucky. Bruh, but yeah, yeah, when like he's like, it makes me feel bad when you talk the way you do about the way that I eat, because it makes me feel like I'm like, you know, in the wrong. I know we're talking about killing people, but you are in the wrong. But like, you know, he's like, I feel like I'm being looked down upon for like my body's needs, and like Louis being like, actually, you don't need it.
Leave him alone.
No, I won't leave him alone. He's an almond mom, and he's very almond mommy in this like situation. Like, he's just like, you don't actually need it. You can live ish on animals. And Claudia's like, it also makes me feel bad. I feel like I'm being tolerated. And then Lestat's like, see, we agree on something. And she's like, shut the fuck up.
She's like, I'm not talking to you.
Yeah, she's just like, No, but then he kind of like manipulates Louis there into hunting people again, which like makes Louis feel bad emotionally. He doesn't like to do it for emotional reasons, but now he feels like if he doesn't do it, the one battleground upon which like Lestat and Claudia have agreed upon, if he doesn't do it, then like he ruins this potential olive branch between them. So then he has to. He feels like he has to. And so I think that just like adds another emotional like layer of emotional turmoil onto Louis in a very emotionally tumultuous situation.
Right.
Yeah. And like Lestat also recognizing like calling them like the lambs herd the Buceron. So like him being like aware of the dynamic, but just being like, I don't care.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. And then, just during all of this, I think with this, like Louis conceding like to this point of like eating and whatever, and then turning around to Claudia like constantly during this episode being like, try harder, you're not trying hard enough.
Listen,
and she's like, and I won't.
You gotta stop that. She don't gotta do
this far no further.
She didn't gotta do a damn thing. She let that man in the house. That's far enough. Leave her alone. Don't talk to her like that. And don't you walk outside her bedroom like that and leave her door open like a fucking parent. You guys are now siblings, essentially. That's what the agreement was.
Yeah, but like you can already see that like it's superficial. Like he's calling her sister but behaving like a dad,
Yep.
Like he has not changed a single thing about his behavior either. He's just changed his language. And like that's a part of it, and we have when like Louis is just like, well, he's teaching you piano and how to play chess, and it's just like, but he's not teaching her anything she wants to know. Like,
I know.
Yeah, I get that she might not have like, she might not like have the full breadth of vampiric powers, but see what she does have and teach her how to do stuff.
Yeah.
If he taught her that, she might actually, I don't think she'd do anything, but like it would mean more to her to be taught that and be actually given a vampiric mentor in that specific way, because what he's doing is just continuing to treat her like a little child, like a little doll. Oh, I'll teach you piano. Oh, I'll teach you how to play chess. And she's like, I'm 33 years old. Like, I want to learn how to be a more powerful vampire. Like this, so especially because like she went out there and she was attacked to have some sort of defenses, but he doesn't do that for her. He keeps her defenseless. And like, the scene with the music box where she puts it on and all of that, and she's like, quipping about like Nikki and all this stuff, and then she points out the racial dynamic at play there.
She should. Honestly, she's just like me. That's what exactly I would have done.
Yeah. And Lestat's like, all right, I gotta go. And like Louis, who back in episode 2 pointed out this exact same dynamic, now feels uncomfortable to do so.
I don't want to admit it right now.
Yeah, he was like, he said the same thing of like when he was just like, well, fledgling sounds like slave, and then like Lestat being like, don't say that. Stop saying that. That makes me uncomfortable.
Well.
And then the same thing happens here where like, Lestat does, see himself as being like more racially evolved than like other white people, but he's not doing anything to prove that other than being like, I heard of it. I've heard of racism.
Damn, racism.
Shakes
my head. That's fucked, man.
Yeah, man.
Anyways, I'm still going to continue with actions, though. My actions are not going to show that, but, I'm going to say
it. And then, like, you know, this whole thing I think makes, like, we already said that, like, Claudia kind of feels like she's on her own, but then I feel like maybe she felt like they had a bit of a united front for a little bit when they were both, like, turning him away. But now she's kind of going back to feeling like she's on her own a little bit because, like, Louis, for the sake of trying to preserve the peace, because now he's afraid, like, is not siding with her because she has no interest in preserving the peace, because she's like, the peace is broken. There cannot be any peace as long as he's here. There is always a threat of danger. And, like, you know, she kind of points that out, like, in in the second bench scene when she's like gonna go, when she's like, when he hurts you again, and he will, come find me. But you know, before that point, we have them learning about his affair.
After Lestat, you know, pretends that he kills Antoinette.
Yeah, cut off her finger.
Which, okay, we're about to get into it, but, like, and then they find out that, you know, she's still alive and he's still visiting her. Can we talk a little bit about his misogyny now?
Yes.
Can we talk a little bit about the fact that people want to act like he is not a patriarch, and maybe they can't see it because he's dating a gay man. So for some reason, you guys don't want to understand that because he's a black gay man and you just don't see it. But then he still weaponizes misogyny with Antoinette.
And Claudia. I would say the train scene is weaponizing misogyny.
Yeah. 100%.
But yeah, and then, like, here, I feel like where you see her and, like, he has her stashed away and he had her, like, dismember herself and you see, like, the bite marks on her neck. He's draining her dry. Not, like, literally, but, like, she's being broken down. Like, he's taking pieces of her literally. And she, for whatever reason, she won't leave. Like, she's, like, stuck in it. And it's a even, like, I would say, like, it's a more pathetic version of where I think Louis feels like he's at as well. Like, they're both in that position where they're just being mistreated by Lestat, but they feel like they can't leave him for whatever reason. Like, at this point, Antoinette has her life, her career is never, she can't have a career. She points out that, like, she can't have a career. He's ruined her opportunity to have a career. So what else is she gonna do except stay with him and stay with these promises? Because, like, she says, like, he promised her something, but he hasn't cashed in on it yet, and it's been too long to wait on that promise. But the same goes for Louis. He promised him something back on the church altar. He promised him freedom from these roles. He promised him, like, freedom, you know, the ability. Yes, and that hasn't been cashed in on. He hasn't gotten that promise. And so when he's, like, walking with Claudia and he's just, like, basically, you know, outlining everything that's wrong with Lestat. Of course, Lestat's not going to do this. And then, but I'm going to take him back because, like, what else do I have at this point? Like, I feel like Louis also feels like he's been ruined. Like, you know, where else is he going to go? Yeah. You know, who else is out there?
But it's a very real feeling for him. Like, it's just him and Claudia now. Yeah. You know, like, they don't have any other community. And Claudia's like, well, let's go find it. But Louis like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like he has, for him, it's like a bird in the hand's worth two in the bush. Like, he's like, I know I have one. Like, I have this relationship and it sucks, but I have it. Whereas if I throw it away, what if we never find anyone else? Especially because, like, the only other person Claudia found was horrible. So he's like, I think part of, like, Louis when he's on the bench being like, well, I can see it's becoming him, is because he's kind of like, what if Lestat's the best there is? Yeah. What if Lestat is as good as it gets? What if there's no one better than Lestat out there? Yeah. What if he's, like, the most decent of vampires?
And to be honest, I think that's also all part of why in that scene we know he's, like, already, like, thinking of killing himself already. Like, he's kind of done.
when he like talks about like wrapping himself in the dissociative shell, and he's just kind of like letting the relationship happen to him but not really actively participating in it. And we have that like, you know, continuation of the crossing of boundaries where Claudia feels she has to step in where his partner is not. And like he's emotionally checked out during like that sex scene with Lestat, and he's talking to Claudia, and Claudia's trying to like help him.
She's like, she's like, we can get out of here.
Yeah, like we can get out of this.
We don't have to be stuck here. We don't have to be stuck in this.
Yeah, and it's in this moment where Louis is not having his emotional needs met. Claudia feels like she has to step up and do that. And that scene is such an uncomfortable representation of that phenomenon. And it's purposefully icky. Like it's supposed to feel icky, but it's also where Claudia feels like she has to be, you know? The everything between them, like all the boundaries between them is shattered. Yeah. And it's so heavy.
God.
It's such a heavy episode.
It really is. Like episode 5 fucks me up because it's like so in your face and so explosive, but like this episode also fucks me up because it's so upsetting, and it's like upsetting from beginning to end, and I'm just like, I can't handle it. It's so heavy.
Yeah.
It's kind of like we said, like they have their goodbye because Kai is probably like, she's crying, and I'm like, probably because she probably knows that
she's probably thinks she's never going to see him again. Like either because when she's like, come find me, she knows he's not going to do it. You know, he's either not going to leave, he's going to stay with Lestat, or he's going to kill himself, or Lestat's going to kill him. Like that's where she's at. She's like, I'm never going to see him again. Yeah. I'm never going to see him again. Yeah. But she also can't wait. She can't wait for, you know, either Louis to make up his mind, which he doesn't think he's ever going to do. If he won't leave after all of this, he's never going to leave. Yeah. And she can't wait for the next big blowout and for, you know, Lestat to really do it this time and like kill him. So she's like, I just got to go and I've got to live my life. Even though last time she went out there, it wasn't great. She's like, I can't be here anymore. It's so claustrophobic and so suffocating. And so she like goes on the train, and Louis is like
the saddest thing ever. Him saying that like the only reason why he didn't kill himself is because Paul killed himself on the night of Grace's wedding, and so he didn't want to do the same thing. And I'm just like, stop it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then it seems like Claudia's gonna get out of there. But then we get to the train scene, and you know, Lestat comes to drag her back, and this scene is so upsetting.
Disturbing.
It's so scary.
Yeah.
And it does make me think about the fact, like she had already said earlier in the episode, referring to him as, you know, slave massa, and all that. Like she already put it out there. And then he comes back. He comes and grabs her and like drags her back like a slave catcher. But I also think about the fact that while everyone else wants to think that scene was cunty or whatever, some bullshit, the fact that he beheads this man and basically taunts her with it, when we remember in a couple episodes prior, episode 3, thank you, Louis is like, hey, well, did you know that in Jackson Square they used to pike slaves' heads up on blah blah blah? I'm like, I feel like that's connected.
It's absolutely
I feel like that's connected. The fact that she specifically calls him that, and then this is a full circle moment to me. And it's horrifying.
And then we have
then the back in your cage, sweetheart thing. I was like, stop.
Yeah, and then we have him, he, you know, chose to go out psychically and learn about what happened with her and Bruce just so that he could taunt her with it. And like we, you know, mentioned a little earlier when we were about the misogyny, but it's like the way he talks about her assault and the way he like taunts her with it and uses it like a weapon in this moment, and like is weaponizing misogyny. It's weaponizing that sort of misogynistic violence. And he talks about it so crassly as well. Like the words he uses are gross. And, you know, he doesn't express sympathy for the fact that he just learned that his daughter was raped. Like, he's just like, you don't want that to happen again, do you?
That was so fucked up. So scary and so fucked up.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is happening right now?
It's really messed up. And like the way that he's like, last time you left, Louis, it was bad for Louis. So you're not allowed to leave because like I think Lestat understands on some level that like he alone cannot make Louis happy anymore. Like Louis needs Claudia too. So
but
he's
that's
like
also on him because he's not even trying. Like,
well, no, I think even if he was trying, he would still be like Louis would want Claudia in the family.
Yeah,
like
100%.
So he's just like, you need to be here because otherwise Louis won't be happy. And so he's like, come back, and like, you know, he's kind of the only reason why he turned Claudia was for Louis.
Yeah.
And because Louis asked him to, it was a favor for Louis. And so he's like, come back and do the thing I made you for, which is to make Louis happy, it was to make Louis stay. Like, we learned, what was it? There was like we have a new excerpt of like that moment from Claudia's diary where she referred to herself as an opiate to like sedate Louis.
Fucked.
That's new, but it's old. It's new, but old. And it's like, yeah, in a way, that's what she is. She's, you know, a metaphor I use a lot is the dog they put in the cheetah enclosure to keep the cheetahs from getting anxious. Like, she's there to make Louis, you know, more pleasant for Lestat to be around. And it's fucked up.
It is fucked.
It's pretty bad. Fucked. And so she comes back and she's like, hey, Louis, we gotta kill this guy.
Gotta kill this guy.
And Louis like
oh, damn.
Yeah. He's like, do we have to? And she's like, we have to.
Yeah, we got to. She's like,
and then like she purposefully like provokes Lestat to anger so that Louis can remember, because like Lestat's been like keeping a lid on it on purpose, and then she does this one little thing which is like choosing to not finish the game, and he starts screaming and yelling and throwing things, and like Louis is upset, like he's like having to like self-soothe with that thing he does where he's like rubbing his chest, and like he turns up the radio so he doesn't hear it, and it's just like he knows in that moment that like he's never gonna be. It's completely safe. He's, or at least he's never gonna feel completely safe. You
don't need to be acting like that for that little thing.
Yeah.
But like, this man cannot regulate his emotions. It's not safe.
No.
So yeah, they gotta take him out. So then we get to episode 7.
No, wait. A brief little thing was we get the San Francisco dream.
Duh, I'm stupid. Literally the thing that changed my life a little bit. I almost forgot the thing that solidified at the time my Dan Lewisms. I was already kind of going that way, even though it's still watch yourself, Daniel.
Yeah.
Just because I'm, I'm kind of, am I coming back to the Dan Lew team? Maybe. Don't worry about it. But still watch yourself, okay?
Yeah,
because you be talking real
crazy,
slick, real slick. We can't have that. Anyways.
Yeah, no, but we get that, and then he sees that Rashid was in the past. Whoa, like, what's that about? And so now we're in episode 7, which is The Thing Lay Still.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm wearing my little outfit today for this.
I wore this shirt to work, but it's got like this kind of like you can't see it super well, but it's got this like pleated sleeve thing, and it's oversized, so I'm counting it as on theme.
Period.
But yeah, the thing that I noted immediately was the lack of pretense. Like the illusion of humility has been thrown in the trash, and like we have Louis being like, he would have it no other way. We did this and the other. He would have it no other way, because like he's not playing with them anymore. He's not playing the game. He's given it up, and he has become like a paranoid tyrant. Like closing his iron fist over this family, because, as we learn, he has Antoinette feeding him info, so he knows that they're plotting to kill him, so he's getting more paranoid and being like, I can need them in line of sight at all times. That's why he's like, Claudia has to sleep in our room again.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Once again. Getting weird.
It's getting weird. Getting weird. It's been weird for decades.
Weird. Right. But yeah. And you know, things are happening. The people around them, their neighbors are like, you know, y'all are weird. There's something going on there. They start leaving little things, and then you have the man come in, and he's like, hello, I think y'all are angels. And Lestat's like, there ain't no angels here, baby. Yeah. He bites that man, you know, and it didn't taste real good.
No, we get the fun foreshadowing of him drinking nasty blood. But like, yeah, we have like in episode 6, we kind of had seen that people were starting to be like, something's wrong. And then in this one, they've been there for like way too long. It's been way too long. And
y'all looked exactly the same as y'all did.
Exactly the same. Especially like Claudia, I think
gives it away
the most, because she's like a teen who's still a teen 15 years later.
Yeah. Like,
come on. But yeah, so I also love that while like Louis is setting up this stage in Dubai, we're seeing Daniel like he's solving a different puzzle.
I know, he keeps looking at Armand,
he keeps staring at Armand like, and Louis like staring at Armand like,
and even Armand's like looking at Daniel as he walks by. He's like, because he can like hear him. He knows, and that's why he goes out. That's why he takes that call in the sun. He's like, oh yeah, I'm like,
he's like trying to double down, and he's like, no,
I can't end the role play yet. Okay, we got to keep it on.
Yeah. But yeah, like there's a lot of, I think an interesting thing is we have multiple plots going on that are kind of coming together and falling apart. And so yeah, like then we have like the trolley scene where like they're planning, but like you see the like the forced, like Louis and Claudia had to sit in the back, and Lestat and Antoinette are sitting in the front, and it's the visual representation of the racial hierarchy and the power imbalance there. And you know, we have Claudia being like, you have to give your heart to him again,
and Louis like, oh, I can't. Then
he's like no, no, I can't, couldn't possibly.
Like, wait, look at yourself.
But I think it's like, because I remember thinking for a long time, like, why was that part of the plan? But I think there was like a lot of things. She was like, one, it could seed some distrust between like Louis and Lestat, but also like Lestat's kind of dumb, and he will take the attention if it's given to him, especially from Louis. And also it allows Louis to also be distracted. So if Claudia can shut off her mind, but Louis cannot. Yeah. So if Antoinette is trying to like read her mind, she's not going to get anything. But if Antoinette's trying to read Louis's mind, she's just going to be hearing like lovey-dovey thoughts about Lestat. And that's also like adding insult to injury, because now she has to hear Louis's lovey-dovey thoughts about Lestat. Yeah, and that's why Claudia like doesn't tell Louis anything, but she gives him pieces of info that won't matter.
Just the right amount of things.
Yeah, and like that's also so fun. She's so on it.
I love her. I love Claudia.
The issue that she did not think about was that it would make it harder for Louis to betray Lestat.
Yeah. I mean, he did say he's going to fall in.
I think she was hoping that Louis would care about her and him, like that would add up more than his love for Lestat, but she doesn't know him. Mr. Lack of self-preservation himself. It's not gonna work.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then like we have like these multiple like references to Lestat being a Nazi and Lestat being a fascist.
You know, we have, you know, when he said things just mirror and they keep mirroring, we have that, and then we later have Armand
standing in front of a swastika.
I'm like, they just go from tyrant to tyrant, free them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
and I think that's also like how like Claudia is making these connections, because like that's also the moment with Armand is one that Louis wouldn't have known about, you know?
Yeah.
So like Claudia is also like, God, from one fascist to another, and it's just like, yeah, choose your flavor. But yeah, like we have these, and then they talk about fleeing to Argentina. Like there's a lot there, and there's literally a bit where like the newscat like recording or reel is like Adolf Hitler's, you know, whatever, as they're showing Lestat, and it's just like, it could not be more blatant. There. Yeah, and he's blonde with blue eyes. There's a lot. There's a lot there. Yeah, but yikes. You know. But yeah, and then we have like, I love the piano scene as like this dance between like Lestat and Claudia, and Louis off to the side turning the pages.
I know. I don't know why it's kind of funny to me. He's like,
okay. Because he's like, he's not privy to it. Like this is a game between Lestat and Claudia, and like there was that poster from season 1 where it's like Lestat and Claudia facing each other and Louis like in the distance in between, because like he is the thing they are fighting for, kind of like who gets to have him.
And you know, Louis is too busy being, you know, in love with Lestat, but also, you know, loving his daughter, loving Claudia, and he's just like, I just want y'all two to get along.
He's like, can we all just get along? And they're like, no.
I put these pretty lights on, and they're like,
has no one
mental
seen my
battle happening right now?
Yeah. They're having like a Death Note internal monologue, like fight scene in every single, you know, scene that they're in together. Which then like leads to the Tom Anderson scene, which I love that Louis was like, I get to be Mr. Businessman, and dresses to the nines for it.
I know, he was so excited. He was so
and he's
excited.
Like sitting in the chair.
He was so high. He's like, yeah, I'm serving, okay, because I'm that girl, and I'm a business baddie, and I get to show everyone, okay.
Yeah, like this is
get into the negotiations, get into it.
Yeah, this is like the power he's wanted the whole time, to like be able to just like say, I want this to happen.
Walk into the room. I want this. Let's sign the papers. What are we waiting for? You know,
he's like, make this happen for me by next week. And then he just slides over the money. He's like, there you go. And it happens for him. Like he now has like, he does have some power over Tom Anderson, where like Tom Anderson is like, I want, like, you know, what do you have the Fountain of Youth, the where do you meet the devil, and what are his terms? And like Louis just like smiles and walks away. Yeah, come on. Yeah, and he's just like, you know, as you know, Tom Anderson is like, I don't know, this, that, and the other, and he's just like, I heard you lost a boat. Do you want a new one? And he just like buys him a new one.
I'm like, ooh, Louis looks so hot right now. Anyways, despite all the horrors of the rest of this these last 3 episodes, I'm like, Louis look good right here though.
Yeah.
It's my one treat.
Yes. I'm trying to remember, because like a lot of it's just like plotting and putting things, they're planning the party, they're doing all of this, you know. There comes a point in this when I'm like, if it wasn't Lestat and Claudia like were able to like, I don't say put aside their differences, but if Lestat wasn't the way he was, him and Claudia could have had such fun together.
I know, because
they had such a good time planning this party.
Like, what is surrounding this? It's kind of fun. They're all like, you know, let the flesh instruct the mind, and it's just all, you know, it's all like, it would have been fun. But then the evil context that it's in.
Yeah, it would be very fun, and if only.
I gotta smack Lestat. Get your shit together.
Many
Why are you like that?
many people are saying this.
But
But yeah, finally, like, it builds up to the big Mardi Gras ball.
yes.
And Louis is struggling because on top of the everything else, they're like, in true, like, pre-French Revolution aristocrat style, they're like, we're gonna starve ourselves so we can enjoy the feast. And so Louis is hungry, and we've seen what happens when Louis is hungry, which is he's not
I know what happens
straight.
when I'm hungry. I'm weak as fuck. I'm just like, sure, whatever, everything. Let's go.
I get hangry, so I don't know. But yeah, so we have all of this, and we have them like having the little pins that they're like, we're gonna pin all the people that we're gonna invite to the murder, but like, the after party, which the murder after party.
Not the murder party. What do you mean?
Oh no, yeah.
Oh,
And I just think it's funny that they had the sheriff wear a pig mask. They were like, LOL.
I'm like, thanks for that. They've been saying fuck cops since the beginning.
Yeah, and like Louis pins him and whatever, and they're building up their people, and
fucking
Tom Anderson saying the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life.
This is why Louis like, oh, let me definitely make sure you get your pin.
Yeah, but buddy. Like he's been living on borrowed time for a very long time. Like ever since Lestat put that X on his face, he's like, when I can, you're gone. So then when like he makes his little
knows that.
Yeah, and like he makes his little quip at like Lestat when Lestat's like, I want to be Raj, and he's like. And Lestat's like, fine, I'll fucking kill you.
He's like, oh, don't fucking worry.
He's like,
guy.
Yeah. So they're doing this, and Louis is starting to get cold feet, but it's too late in the game, and they got to do it. And we meet the name that they give the twins, the McPhail brothers, is so funny. And the hook, line, and sinker, Lestat falls for it. He's just like, going off because he's like 2 seconds away from biting everyone at this party because he's too hungry. And like we get the balcony scene, which like is still good.
It is good.
It's a good scene.
It's so I'm like,
it's like I feel like Lestat has a lot of like big moments where he's like big, but the moments I think are the most interesting for him are when he's like a person, I was talking a bit about this before, but like Lestat and kayfabe, and like I feel like he plays the vampire Lestat a lot, and then every so often you just get Lestat de Leoncourt, and this is just Lestat talking to Louis. This is not like the performance of Lestat de Leoncourt, and it sucks that it takes this moment for him to like actually come out and be this person. Because it's still a romantic scene.
I mean, it is.
You feel like the sadness. It's just like there comes like when I watch it, I'm just like, it could have been this all the time. Like, why wasn't it this all the time?
Why, like, it's so frustrating. I'm like, and now it's already too late. It's already too late. This came too late.
With a lot of things, like I was saying this to you a lot, that I was just like, I feel like it comes too late.
It comes too late. I'm like, you should have been doing this from the beginning. What are you doing? You're already they about to cut you up, boy. Like it's too late now. You already been acting up. Oh my god. And Louis is just like, he's like, do you want to, what about a last dance? And Louis is like, I like that very much. And his eyes are so big, and you're like, oh my god.
And then they have the dance, and then everyone in the room disappearing who's not them.
I'm
they're
sick.
the only ones there. And like Louis bringing up that it's like all of the goriness, all the nastiness that happens later was like shown with explicit detail in the papers the next day, but this moment was omitted because it's the last nice moment they have, because in the eyes of society, this is the thing that's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that these two men have the capacity to love one another.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't even know everything that's gone on between these two, like the things that make this moment like hard and complicated.
Yeah.
It's just, it triggers their like disgust reflex when they see it, and it's like, you know. But I do find it interesting, like we get Louis in this moment, you know, kissing Lestat in front of everybody, and like when you go back to episode 1 of this season, like Louis not even wanting to admit to his family that he enjoyed going to the opera with Lestat.
Yeah.
And so like I think in this episode we do get Louis finding some of the freedoms he had wanted, but he only gets to have them because it's at the end.
Yeah.
You know, he's able to, you know, have this financial power when it comes to Tom Anderson. He's able to like be in public with Lestat in this moment,
late.
but it's all too late.
And Claudia like Claudia's there to remind him.
Yeah,
she's like,
it's too late.
It's too late, baby boy. We gotta let's roll it back. Let's roll it back. Okay. Mm-hmm. This is all sweet and cute, but
I think that's when she realizes that it may have gone too far.
Yeah.
She's like, uh-oh. But also I noted that like Claudia's the only one still wearing her mask in this scene. Like Louis and Lestat have taken off their masks. Lestat's taken off his wig. Like he looks the most the way he did when he was human in this moment. He's wearing the clothes. He's got the hair. Mm-hmm. He's shed the other stuff. Mm-hmm. And like Claudia is still like, mask on, baby. I'm not revealing anything yet.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. And we have like the
cards.
Yeah, because as we heard earlier in this like sequence, like Antoinette's in the room.
Yeah.
And she's, despite the fact that they're having this sweet moment, he's still got an agent on the inside. You know,
Claude's like, I already know about your agent.
Yeah, the game is still afoot, even if 2 of the players have forgotten. They got caught up in everything else. They're a little busy right now. Yeah, and so then we go back to the townhouse, and he's like, I gotta give my monologue.
Like, which we have a storyline. We have.
I'm not sure if this is true, but like all I could think of when he's telling this was like, I know that Magnus was an alchemist, and I know that Magnus learned about the immortality from the vampires. So, like, I'm not sure. Part of me was like, is that him that he's talking about like the guy who like learned the secret of immortality? But I'm also not sure. So no one attack
he was just
me
kind of mixing it in
for making claims.
You know, sometimes it's good to put a little reality into your story. So he's like, let me dip a little something in here.
Yeah. But yeah, so, you know, he does this whole like theater of the whole thing where he's just like, we got the philosopher's stone in this bucket. And
Anderson's greedy ass is like, enough talking. Let me
because like Anderson is known for like a while, you know, that like something's up, they have these powers, but like now that they're getting ready to hit the road, he's like, he's like, I need to know before they go. I want it.
Like, I'm leaving with y'all leaving, but I'm getting something.
Yeah. I'm leaving this relationship with something.
Yeah.
And it's empty. And then we get the big like murder scene where like Lestat jumps on Tom Anderson, he drains him, and then like Claudia immediately goes for the cop. She's always gone for the cop. If there's one thing about Claudia, she's gonna kill a cop. Louis is going, I don't know, Hannibal Lecter mode. He tore off that dude's jaw.
That was very sexy of him, though.
Okay.
That was another part that was kind of sexy of him.
All right. And then I did think it was interesting, like when Claudia's digging into the guy and she spits out the eyeball, I'm like, still dismembering people.
Yes, I know. I love that. I was like, yeah, let's get into it. Get into it.
And it's like, it's such a fun, gory scene where like we just have like pure vampiric violence and it's just blood everywhere. And they're wearing white, which is like, if it's a vampire thing and someone's wearing white, it better be covered in blood at the end. That's why The Invitation wasn't a good movie. It was a vampire movie. She was in the white wedding dress. Not even a drop of blood. Just saying. This is the amount of blood I'm expecting if you see an all white outfit in a vampire thing. Dripping blood everywhere. They go upstairs. to set up the double blind with the twins. And Lestat goes upstairs, and we hear Louis once again be a very bad liar. When he's just like, he's like, no, he looks like he drank a lot. That's why he's unconscious. And then like Lestat pokes his neck, the guy doesn't budge, and he's just like quite drunk this one. And he's like, it must be the gin. Come on, man.
A lot of people, whenever people think that Louis is a liar, I'm like, he's not a liar.
We've seen him when he tries to lie. It gives like Miles Morales from like the Spider-Verse every single time. He's like, who's Miles? Like every time he's trying to lie.
I mean, he literally does that. He's like,
in season 2, and he's like, who? About Lestat? Yeah. It's so crazy.
And then when, like, Lestat in the trailer or whatever.
It's just like, who's Daniel Malloy? He's like,
weird.
I'm like, who is Daniel Malloy?
I guess he really has to be like fully prepared and like acting because like his little Dubai stunt, he was ready.
I think that's the point though. Like they didn't make up a new guy. He's just like, I'm your butler called Rashid. You know how you have a butler called Rashid? I'm your butler called Rashid. True. Just call me Rashid. You're already used to calling your butler Rashid.
What if that was the reason why? He's like, I know we want to do like a role play thing, but like,
I can feel Armand being like, "What if you called me this?" And then Louis being like, and then saying the name. He's like, "What if you just called me Rashid?" Armand going back into director mode. He's like, "Cut.
Okay,
take it again.
You're not ready."
But yeah, so then Lestat opens the door for Antoinette. She comes in, and we have the whole, big reveal.
Antoinette thinks she's like doing something. She's like,
with her little suit.
I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. And then
Claudia's like, actually, Uno reverse.
Yeah, because there was like a big reveal that she's like, I've been a vampire since at least the train scene. And Louis like, what? And Claudia's like, I knew that. In fact, I knew that the whole time. And in fact, I've devised this whole thing on purpose because I knew that you were listening. And
that's like, girl.
And then Lestat, though, he has Antoinette try and make Claudia drink the poisoned blood because the poisoned blood, the blood he thinks is poisoned, as he's like telling Louis, like, we never should have made her. And Antoinette will be more amenable to our lives together.
Hello?
He just wants 2 wives.
I know.
That's it.
You're greedy as fuck. You don't get 2 wives. I don't think any man deserves 2 wives. So you especially don't deserve 2 wives.
No.
Get that idea out of your head. We're not doing that. Absolutely not.
Yeah. And then, like, it's revealed.
Of these men. Fuck you, Klay Thompson.
Today's episode, so you know when it happened. Yeah. But anyway, sorry, just put the mic, the ground once again.
These guys, you have a bad bitch and this is how you act. Anyways.
Yeah. But yeah, so then it's revealed like that guy he already drank the poisoned person, which was Tom Anderson. And because Claudia knew that like he would go for the guy who's been pissing him off this whole time.
In real, because he needed to be got. But Claudia's like, and I knew it though.
The whole like pederast satanic trio line was crazy. I forgot he said that, and then he said it, and I was like, wow.
I forgot until you showed me, and then I rewatched it myself, and I was like, I forgot as well.
Oh yeah, also something I thought was interesting when they were talking about the party planning, how like Louis a couple of times calls them like the Weird Brothers and their doll-like sister.
Yeah,
like.
That's crazy too.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of topsy-turvy stuff with the relationships when like Louis refers to Lestat as their father. He's like, can the children murder the father? And like, we get a lot of weird stuff going on.
That just goes back to the whole
conversation we've been having.
It's a little weird sometimes.
But yeah. And then we have this big thing. Claudia, stabs Antoinette with the fire poker. Lestat's throwing up blood. It's all happened. The plans worked. And all that has to happen now is for Louis to finish it. And so Louis grabs the knife. We have another, I think, great exchange here when like he goes to like slit his throat and that whole thing. And I don't think Lestat's lying when he's like, I loved you with all myself. It's just like there's a lot he loved
It's just
him
that,
with the ugly parts too.
yeah,
Like that's also a part of him.
yeah.
But it's there, and you know, he slits his throat and
Full circle moment.
full circle
The
moment.
knife that he fell. I mean, you know, he fell in love with a little knife, and Louis like,
Here
well,
it is.
then,
Well, and he says,
here
I
you are,
want to
sweetheart.
take my cane and slit his throat with it. And then we see
Yeah.
him doing that here. We also have, like, to me, another reference to that when Louis just like, I wanted to kill him. I wanted him all to myself. Echoing the, I wanted to kill the man. I wanted to be the man. Like, there's a lot of
full
things that
circle.
are, like, coming together. Like, a lot of, like, full circle moments from, like, either early episodes or the first episode, like, having a full thread. And so, you know, he slits his throat. Claudia sticks the pen in the neck and writes the last words.
Period.
And
Girlie,
yes,
let's go.
and then it comes time for them. Well, I thought it was fun when they like threw Antoinette in the fire, because I was thinking about back in episode 3 when Louis was like, she burned quick, and then he didn't burn her, and now he's like, I've done it.
It's done. It's done.
It's done. And they throw her in there, and then now it's time for Lestat, and Louis' false memory of
Louis like, wow, I'm pretty sure that
Claudia.
we both didn't want to like, you know, throw him in, because like, I don't know, like we both realized like, wow, we like, this is our family. Like, this is someone we actually know. It's different, right? For you too, Claudia. It was totally for Claudia too.
Yeah, and like I've said something a couple of times, like off air to Amari, that I think like a couple of times we get the energy of like, I had felt it in like the first episode when Florence was talking about like losing Paul, or like not talking about losing Paul, but the way she talks about Paul after he has died. And he kind of replaces Louis as the new favorite son. And I said, I'm like, there's no nice way to say it, but it's really easy to love someone who has died because they can't do anything to disappoint you anymore. And there's a couple of moments in the show that I think about that again. And I feel like in this moment when Louis portrays Claudia as softer, as having this soft-heartedness actually deep down for Lestat, it makes her like softer, makes her a little bit more palatable. It's like we agreed on this moment, and in addition to it allowing Louis to avoid culpability for what he did later, and also like, you know, going into Europe having not burned Lestat, it's not Louis' fault because we both couldn't do it, but that's not the case. It's that Louis couldn't do it, and he got physical with Claudia when she tried to insist upon it. And like when we have like, you know, Daniel coming in and being like, this doesn't make sense, like this doesn't add up.
This is not fucking adding up.
And then him reading the book, the diaries, and being like, she's angry at you. Why would she be angry at you if it wasn't that she wanted this thing and you didn't do it, even though some pages have been strategically removed. And Louis is then recalibrating because he's been telling himself a version of his story for so long it's replaced the truth, and now he's having to reconcile with the complications that the truth
and once again how he failed Claudia,
because it all comes back to how he failed Claudia. And we see Armand in his little chair being like,
he's like, oh fuck.
And so like he comes over, he comes into the scene, and you know there's Daniel's starting to pick apart the story and being like, no, there's something else here, and then turns it to Armand or Rashid, or like this guy who he's like, Rashid Mond, fake Rashid, and he's like, there's something weird with you too. And he uses very derogatory language, like when he's talking to him about it, like the euphemism that he uses for Louis when he says like, how come Damek, you know, doesn't like passes out when you like suck him off. And I'm like, and then he's purposefully using like this euphemistic language that like, and then like when he calls like like fake Rashid like a wet t-shirt contest away from like 130. Like that's also demeaning language that to me all of these words like tie back to him referring to fake Rashid Armand in episode 6 as the rent boy. Like it's all purposeful, demeaning, emasculating language that he's
Yeah.
using for him.
We talked a little bit about, I feel like Daniel, did we talk about it in, which, I don't know, we probably talked about it in all of our little podcasts at some point, whether it was
Yeah.
Louis or Armand or the one that we talked about fandom racism and how Daniel does lean into like some, like, he's racist, and so there is a sexual attraction to these two men, and he weaponizes that as well. But it's like he's also like kind of pissed about it at the same time. Because he feels like he's not in control, so it comes out in like very derogatory ways.
Yeah, and we see that here definitely. And then, you know, things get really stressful. Louis goes to the rocks room. He's got to put his feet in those rocks, and it's starting to come back to him. Like things are not the way he remembered them. And Armand is like, I gotta step in here for real. And he takes out his little contacts and his silly little gloves, and he floats up and gets the book, and he's just like, hello, it's me, the vampire Armand. I have arrived. And Louis, the whole like, let me introduce to you the vampire Armand, the love of my life, which like is such a crazy thing to say in the moment, not necessarily because of like anything, but because, you know, this horrible traumatic truth has just come out. He just talked about everything that happened with Lestat, and then he's just like, I think this was what, I don't know if this is what they were going to say when they were going to reveal Armand regardless, but it feels like he's saying the rehearsed line for the reveal here. And it just feels so out of place, especially because when they show the like Louis on the bottom step and Armand is on the top step, and so like Louis looks 3 apples tall, and like
it's a reversal really quick where you realize
all the times that like
it's not what we think it is.
No,
but,
where it literally shows that like this is not what it's been, and
it's crazy.
I also think it's really fun that so throughout season 1 we've heard like Moonlight Sonata, like it happened in episode 3 when like Louis trying to remember whether it was raining or not, and then we have it 2 times in this episode. And Daniel Hart, who does the music, said that before they wrote Armand a proper theme, Moonlight Sonata was the theme they used for him. And they kind of used elements of Moonlight Sonata when they've developed his theme eventually for season 2 because of that. And so like I love that you have it here. It starts to become more present. It was always present. It's in the scene where Louis turns and says, "You're lingering, Rashid," and Armand leaves the scene. But like I just like that.
It's great. No, it's good. I love that a little bit.
It's a really great, like, you know, music motif moment.
Yeah. And then, you know, that's the end.
That's the end of season 1.
That's the end of season 1. And then we get into season 2. But we'll talk about that next time.
For sure. Oh my gosh.
There was so much to get into in this one as well.
Yes.
I mean, there's just a lot in these
There's a lot in these things.
A lot to talk about.
Yeah, and like once again, I feel like we only scratched the surface because like, you know, you could do a whole video essay on like just one thing from each of these episodes.
Right.
It's so good. But I'm excited for season 2 where we get to jump more into Armand. We get to see Delaney and do all of that stuff. But this was our season 1. I also think it's really apt that with everything that's happening with, like, you know, promo stuff, we touched on the train scene here. We touched on Lestat's deal with incest multiple times. Yeah.
I see y'all talking crazy. Don't piss
Yeah.
me off.
Because, like,
Anyways.
Here it is.
Here it is. Anyways, that's it. Thank you for joining us once again. Hope you had fun, but not too much fun because it's been
It's been
topic is not grabbing. You know,
I hope you enjoyed it.
Anyways. And, you know, as always, comment below how you felt watching these 2 episodes, good and bad, whatever. Like, subscribe so you can stay in touch with us, and we'll see you next time when we start talking about season 2.
Yes, for sure.
Bye.
Bye.